Here with me, I have Mikiah. Are you Mikiah? Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I decided to do a video that is a little bit of a review of the Fort Wilderness campgrounds and resort area that we stayed at during our trip in late May, early June this year. Here I have with me my niece Mikiah, who was on that same trip with me and stayed in the Fort Wilderness cabins along with the rest of her family. And so we were just going to kind of go over some things that we liked or things maybe that we didn't like around the Fort Wilderness campground and resort area. So to start with, you guys got there before us, so I didn't really think about it until we got there. My niece obviously was with my sister and her family, so they're in a separate car. We all drove to Florida. They got there a couple of hours before us, and they went to go check in. Now I do know, even though once we got there, we didn't go the same route. Um, I didn't think of it till later. You actually could have avoided going through the check-in line that you did, and since we already had our cabin numbers and stuff, y'all could have just went straight to the line that said resort guest and used your magic band to get in. Didn't know that till it was too late. When you guys got there, you went to the line like to actually check in, right? Mm-hmm. And you had a little bit of a bump in the road because whoever they spoke with, because the cabins were under my name, they basically tried to tell them that they had to pull to the side and wait for us to get there. And so that was a little weird. And they kind of gave them a hard time and told them they weren't going to be able to go and check in, even though we knew the cabin number already. My sister didn't realize, nor did I think to tell her that since we already knew the cabin number, she could go to a separate gate. When you get there, there's a line that you can go through where you're actually checking in if you haven't checked in already. And then there's a separate line just a little bit of ways that says like resort guest or something like that, where you don't have to go and talk to anyone. You just go up to a little gate, do your magic band or your card with the chip in it, and it opens a gate and lets you go through. And you can go to your campsite, or in our case, your cabin. By the time that we got there, I realized that we could do that, and I had my mom, who was driving, go to that separate gate. She didn't even really stick her magic band. I think once we just got to the gate, it read that close, even without her putting her magic band out. It read her band. It opened up the gate and let us in. So the loop that we stayed on was 2700, right? We were in loop 2700, which is pretty close to the front. When I checked in online, I chose the option for a cabin closer to transportation, I think is what I said. And that one was pretty close to the main transportation up front on the resort grounds. So it actually ended up being pretty convenient for the most part for us to stay in that loop. So my first impressions of the cabin, I really liked it. I'd seen pictures. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller than what it was. And they're not gigantic, but I think it was just the right size. There's a living room area. They don't have the Murphy beds anymore. There is a queen size sleeper sofa that you pull out, and that's where one of my sons slept. Anyway, there's that sofa. There was like a chair with a little ottoman. I just thought there was a lot of space. There was a kind of like in the dining room kitchen area, there was like a bench seat with some chairs around the table for you to sit. The kitchen area had a refrigerator, full-size refrigerator. There was a microwave that had a convection oven in it. There was a dishwasher, plenty of cabinet space, like a stove top. There's not a regular stove anymore, but they have that convection oven, which we also used. And the bathroom was pretty big. I thought the bathroom was a pretty good size. And in the bedroom, there was a queen-size bed and then a set of twin beds, not twin beds, bunk beds, twin bunk beds, obviously. I like the little closet space was pretty good for us. The closet pretty much hold everything for y'all too. So there was 5 of us in each cabin. So my first impression, I thought it was really cute, a little bigger than I expected it to be, just very cozy and very Disney-like. I just liked it completely. What about you guys? What was your first impression?
It had good air conditioning.
That Florida heat, Disney did not disappoint with the excellent air conditioning. And of course, going in late May, early June, it was pretty hot. So it was good to come back to the cabin and have that fabulous cold blowing air conditioning. Of course, I also love that you have your own separate cabin. You have your little driveway that you can pull up into. It's just enough room for one vehicle, and so if you had multiple vehicles, I don't know where you would park. I guess they don't really encourage you. There's not really enough room on the little streets, the pathways to the cabins, to have you park on the side of the road. But There's plenty of room for each of us had our own vehicle. I just like the fact that you didn't have, a wall that you're sharing with your neighbor and hearing any noise. I thought it was really quiet. I never really heard anything
Yeah.
while we were inside the cabin. First, I want to talk about getting around at Fort Wilderness. Again, I have not been there since 1986, and I remember walking a lot when we went there previously. We actually stayed at a campsite in my aunt's. They had a camper trailer that we all rode in and stayed at. I just remember walking everywhere and it not being very big at that time. Could be wrong, but of course this time there was lots of space and lots of places to go. And we found out pretty quickly that you couldn't just walk everywhere. I mean, I guess you could, but it would take a while to get to a lot of the places. We really weren't that far from the swimming pool, but again, with the heat and
They didn't
everything,
have parking at the swimming pool.
right? There's not parking at the swimming pool. A lot of people were riding bikes, which of course we did not plan to accommodate any bikes, and we didn't like rent any bikes or anything while we were there. They do have bike rental available, and they also have the electric carts available, like the golf cart type of carts available that you could rent. I did see that a lot of people that went actually had their own, but of course those are like the die-hard camping people that have them and they like pull them with their mobile homes or RV. And so a lot of people already had their own, but you could rent one of the electric vehicles, which we did. What, by day 2 or 3? A day or two into our vacation, my sister and her husband decided to rent one of the little electric golf carts to get around because it made it so much easier than trying to take the vehicle and make 2 trips because there's too many of us and like my mom or my dad or someone would go drop parts of us off and come back. So it made it easier just to get that electric cart. It is a really nice resort. There's a lot of areas Disney keeps everything so clean. We didn't actually use what they call the comfort stations because we had the cabin with our own bathroom and shower and everything in there. But I do remember when I went in '86, the comfort stations with the showers and the dressing areas were always pristinely clean, and I'm assuming that's still the case, but I can't really comment on that since we didn't use those. We also did not use the laundry area, which um, I did see on the literature that they gave us in the room that you could look up, I guess, online which washers and dryers were being used so that you know if there's any available before you go to wash, which would be very helpful. I'd hate to take all of my stuff to one of the comfort stations or wherever the laundromat is and find out there's no washers. So there is supposed to be something available where you can look up and see if there's washers and dryers available to do your laundry. We just didn't use those. As far as the swimming pools, I was going to let Mikiah just kind of discuss how did you like the swimming pools?
They were clean, and there's 2. There's one without slides, and there's one with slides. And
Right.
Both of them, well, only one of them has lifeguards.
The main one with the
Yeah.
slides and stuff. So the main pool that has the slides and all of the extras. Did both of them have like a snack bar or just that main one, the big one?
Only the main one.
So the big one, the name of it escapes me right now, but the bigger pool, like she said, it had an area where it was obviously a bigger area. There was like slides and extra water features. And I did see I guess it was like a little snack bar where you could get something to eat at the main pool. They also went to the pool that was closer to Loop 27, which was a little bit smaller, still gated in, still had restrooms, right?
They both have restrooms and shower stations.
Oh, perfect. And but of course the smaller one just didn't have the little snack bar area where you could get something to eat and kind of eat while you're out there chilling by the pool. Okay, let's see what else.
They have volleyball courts and basketball courts
Oh, yeah.
and tennis courts
True. I remember seeing the volleyball courts, basketball
and
playgrounds. So that's kind of scattered throughout, or was that near the pool?
scattered throughout. But
I remember
think there's several.
Yeah, I remember when you might look and see there's a cart cam video I did at Fort Wilderness, and that was just kind of showing a little bit of the area at Fort Wilderness campgrounds at resort. But I do remember seeing little play areas, there's playgrounds, and like she said, volleyball courts, basketball courts. So just some different things that the kids can do. I know we went to the Meadow Trading Post, which is the smaller of the 2 like gift shops type of things where you could buy souvenirs, and they had a small little assortment of groceries and things like that, like they normally do at the regular resorts. Only these were, of course, themed with Fort Wilderness stuff. They're really cute.
They also have ponds that you can fish in.
Ponds that you can fish in. Well, we did actually see some kids that got into the water like waist deep into the water trying to fish. Definitely, you're not supposed to do that. We don't recommend you do that, especially after the tragedy that's happened a few months ago with the alligators, involving alligators and a guest. But they do have ponds that you can fish in, but just make sure you follow the rules. Do not get into the water, not a foot, not a hand. I wouldn't do any of that. But they're even across from the Meadow um, trading post. There was the area where you could, I guess, rent fishing gear, and then you could rent bikes. And then they have little boats or something you could rent.
And then there's also the white sand beach thing. I forgot what it was called.
Oh, over by the boats where we came in from Magic Kingdom?
Yeah, and they have bigger boats there.
I did see that. I remember that. We did come back one night from Magic Kingdom and rode the boat from Magic Kingdom to Fort Wilderness. And yeah, there's a big beach area where they had chairs you could sit, bigger boats, I guess, that you could rent, and maybe if people.
There's like tetherball.
Oh yeah, tetherball and some other stuff there in that direction as well. We only briefly went to, not the adults, while the kids were at one of the pools, I think. Some of us went to where like the main trading post is, or I guess they call it the settlement, where it had like the more dining, and it had like where the Hoop-de-Doo review usually is, Mickey's Backyard Barbecue or something to that effect. That you had to either walk to or take one of the carts to that area to look around there. We also saw at that time they had like horse-drawn carriage rides and some other stuff going on over there. So there's just a bunch of things. That's the same place where they have like the Chippendale Campfire sing-along or whatever it's called. Why did I forget what it's called? I don't know. But probably because we didn't go. But they just have so many things that you can actually do. I kind of wish we could have stayed longer where we had more time to see everything at the campsites and the whole resort basically. Now, one thing that kind of drove me crazy, part of it is my fault. Yes, I know. I've been to Disney World so many times, and even hotels so many times. I don't necessarily look at the literature that they leave. And in this case, over by where the TV is next to the sofa, there's like some little storage areas, and there was like the phone in one of those corners, and it had a little book about the room. And somewhere in there, it basically told you, I don't know the exact wording, but basically it's letting you know that there's not regular bus service from Fort Wilderness to the Magic Kingdom. Now, I didn't read that. I didn't look at that. We were pretty close from where our cabin was to the main transportation center that took that for the buses that took us to the parks. So no problem. We went to Epcot, taking the bus there. The day after that, we were going to Magic Kingdom, and we got there early, trying to get there on time and be there for rope drop and what have you. And I noticed the big screen that tells you what time the buses are coming, and it only had like Epcot and like Animal Kingdom or something up there. And we're just waiting and waiting for Magic Kingdom bus, along with probably 30 other people that, buses were coming for Epcot and for Animal Kingdom or something. And everyone else is just sitting there, and we keep looking at the screen, wondering when the Magic Kingdom bus is coming. And I'm like, it's not even up there. And after a while, I'm like, this is taking forever, and I don't know what's going on. So the next time an Epcot bus came, because probably 3 or 4 Epcot buses had come, and I was like, why don't we just get on the bus to Epcot? At Epcot, we'll take the monorail, either, and just monorail to the ticket and transportation center, and just take the monorail to Magic Kingdom or something, because we've been waiting forever. And I did complain the whole morning, like, why was there no Magic Kingdom buses? And I was kind of grouchy about it because I was like, this is ridiculous. We'll have to talk to somebody when we come back. Well, come to find out when we came back, that there's not a regular bus that goes, or there's not a scheduled bus that goes from that bus station to the Magic Kingdom. And I guess that's because it's so close to the Magic Kingdom. I guess the logical thing is for you to go take a bus through the resort back to where the boats are, and you take the boat to Magic Kingdom. But did I know that? No. Did my sister know that? No. I looked at the paperwork and the literature in the room when we came back, and I'm like, oh, this is why. So then I was like, felt kind of upset with myself that I didn't know better, that I didn't figure that out before we got there, because we wasted, I think if we, say there had been a bus, we would have been at Magic Kingdom maybe 15 to 20 minutes before they opened. And by the time we went to Epcot, got on the monorail, switched, we couldn't take the monorail because the line was so long to go to Magic Kingdom. We went on the ferry. There was 2 ferries running because it was so busy. By the time we actually got to Magic Kingdom, it had already been open like for what, an hour? I think it was almost 10 or something before we got there that morning. I don't remember,
Didn't
but
we have to take the monorail from Epcot to
the Ticket and Transportation Center. But then we couldn't get on that monorail. We couldn't switch monorails because the line, remember, was so long, winding all the way out. We just got off the first monorail, and this is the line for the one to the Magic Kingdom. So we're gonna try our luck at the ferry boat. Look how long that line is. So we rode the ferry boat, which is nice, but it's just, I was grouchy because we got a big kink in our plans, and I was, at that time, didn't know there wasn't a bus that goes from Fort Wilderness, or at least that main front bus stop to the Magic Kingdom. So it actually wasn't until like a day or two later that we figured out that like a bus driver told us, oh yeah, there's a bus, but you have to go back into the settlement, back towards, wasn't that area kind of back towards where the buses were? I mean, where the boats are. There's a small, one of the little, I don't remember which color it was, to be honest with you. There's a bus line, and they're all like there's orange, yellow, and purple, right? One of those.
It was whichever one was at the very back.
Yeah, whichever one's in the very back of the resort, closer to where the boats are. There's a bus that will take you to Magic Kingdom, and we only figured that out because I guess that night, wasn't it? We took the bus. We're like, well, wait, there's a bus that would take us from Magic Kingdom to Fort Wilderness, and we weren't sure how that was going to happen. And sure enough, he did. And the guy was like, oh yeah, you just come here and then you take this one. And it was just a big, I don't guess it was a mess. It just was poor planning on my part, not looking into it enough to know that there was not just a normal bus route. So check into that before you try to take any buses from Fort Wilderness. Don't be like me and skip that and mess everything up that day.
At least we got to take the monorail.
True. We took the monorail, and we took the ferry boat, and we took that little boat from Magic Kingdom. We pretty much almost covered all of the modes of transportation during that day anyway. Let's see, anything that you particularly loved about the resort?
Behind the cabins, there's a bunch of, like, there's an open space kind of where there's a bunch of trees and little animals and stuff.
Oh yeah, little animals, big animals. I was riding with your dad that one day when where did we go? Take y'all to, I don't remember what we did. We were taking everybody, I think it's when we were taking everybody back in the cart from the swimming pool.
Yeah.
And then it was me and him and maybe Cade were the last ones that went, and we saw tons of deer. And I had video of just some of the deer that we passed. At one point there was, I think, 4 or 5 deer just walking along, which you have to be careful no matter what the wildlife is. And so don't go trying to pet the deers or anything weird, but it was just really serene and nice. It was, even though it was hot, I don't know, it just was very relaxing atmosphere. I really want to stay there again one time, and then maybe be able to, like I said, kind of have extra time to enjoy the resort more.
Yeah, I think it wasn't as hot because there's a lot of shade.
Yeah, it was really nice. The only thing that was weird is the night that we stay at Magic Kingdom till really late, and we got back to Fort Wilderness like at 1 a.m. and it was kind of like, with the Florida heat, it was kind of like a misty, foggy looking, with the humidity and all.
That was the night that it rained.
Oh, okay, that's why, because it rained. And so when we got back, it was just kind of misty, and with the lights and stuff, it was real creepy, and you could hear stuff moving in the woods. And I was like, let's hurry up. And, good thing we were pretty close to the bus stop, because we were like, there's lots of creepiness going on here, but it was still fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Me too.
One of the things I could say that I didn't like is the lack of like a counter service type food or food places that were not at that main settlement.
Yeah, we had to leave the entire Disney resort too.
Yeah, a lot of times we would completely leave and go off of Disney property to go get something different to eat. We did buy groceries because our room, or rather our cabin, had a full-size refrigerator, and we had lots of cabinet space. So we actually had lots of food that we would cook our own breakfast. Then like at the parks, we would eat something there. And then a lot of times for dinner, we would either eat something back at the room or towards the end, just because who wants to buy $300 worth of groceries? There was 10 of us.
If you don't buy groceries, you'll eat a lot of chicken nuggets and burgers.
Yeah. Well, Some people actually go and find real restaurants, but that's just how we roll. Lots of fast food places. So that was the one thing is between the two cabins, all the food was in the refrigerator in our cabin, and my mom and dad didn't go to the parks. So my mom would like get up early and make us breakfast, or she would, make us some kind of dinner. But, um, you know, you don't always want to cook, and also sometimes you don't want to have to leave property to go find something. And being a tourist area, sometimes it's hard to find a good place if you want to go do a sit down meal. So we did, like she said, lots of burger and lots of chicken nuggets and pizza.
It is fine.
Yeah, but that's what we like, so it's okay. So overall, it was a really good experience. There are a few things that I didn't like, but now that I know some of the things, some of the options, I can plan better for next time, I guess. All in all, it was pretty fun, and I definitely would do it again. Would you definitely do it again?
Yeah.
And hopefully not in 5 years from now. Hopefully sooner than that.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see how that works. But that was just kind of our take on the Fort Wilderness Campground and Resort. If you have any questions that we didn't cover or something that maybe we actually did and I didn't go into deep enough, let me know in the comment section below and I will definitely answer you. But I think that's it for now, guys. Thanks for helping me do this video.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching. See you real soon.
I had that blanket.
So that's good. I mean, that was a preliminary thing. It's just that, like, say for